Crown has you covered. Start your day with the first word. Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the working lunch. Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. Built for Cincinnati. First word for your morning sports. The working lunch for business that hits home. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
It is midday in the Queen City. Business is booming. We've got updates on live venues, and we're talking T-shirts today. Let's do lunch.
Cincinnati is a city that means business. Fortune 500 company HQs, renowned institutions like Children's Hospital and the Cincinnati Zoo, and letters that everyone here knows: TQL, GE, CVG, UC, and X. It's also a city that's large enough for new ideas to take root and grow. You know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and you're in business. I'm Jack Crumley, and this is The Working Lunch.
Hello, welcome to The Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. This is our hour-long business show here on The Crown, where we bring you headlines about companies and what they're doing in the city, bring you interviews with local leaders and business owners, and try to squeeze in a bite to eat or something to drink before you go back to face the afternoon. I do have a certain festival on my radar that's coming up next month. We'll be bringing you more on that before the end of the week. Cincinnati business headlines on this Thursday. Financing on the $500 million project was announced yesterday. We now know that construction on Cincinnati's new convention center hotel is going to happen in about a month. A 700-room Marriott hotel right across from the convention center with meeting space, an event terrace, and ballrooms, also a sky bridge. If all goes according to plan, that's going to open in late 2028. Meantime, the Port of Greater Cincinnati Development Authority approving $55 million in bonds for the next phase of the Aspire Kenwood development. That is on Kenwood Road near the mall. This mixed-use development will have more than 100 apartments along with office and retail space. The plan is to have the Port own it, and it will lease it back to the developer. That's a pretty common thing for the Port Authority. And we've got some new wrinkles that have developed in the saga of the Madison Theater in Covington. There's been a little bit of back and forth publicly, and trying to give things a little bit of time to settle out before we bring them to you. So here is the latest. A post from operator Frank Hulfield on the Madison Theater Facebook page is called "A Final Order of Business." That went up this week. He says ticket refunds will be issued for all shows. That process has already begun. Ticket holders don't need to do anything other than just keep an eye on their bank accounts. He says they have received thousands of comments from all over offering love and support, happy memories, and more. Hulfield goes on to thank all the bands that performed there, all the bartenders, security guards, and performance technicians, along with personal and professional friends he's worked with over the years. Hulfield closes out by saying that even though Madison Theater Presents LLC has come to an end, the Madison Theater itself will reopen in the near future with new management, and he wants people to show them love and support. That's an echo of what a lawyer for the building owner, ENC Properties, said just yesterday, that the goal is to open under a new operator in a few weeks. There had also been some reporting about issues with an injury and insurance, some inconsistent timelines on that, but it all moves ahead anyway. But there is a little bit more. There is also a report from the Inquirer from Monday that the owner, ENC Properties, has been delinquent on its taxes, and that a Lexington company that specializes in buying tax liens filed suit on the day that the theater closed last week. It wants a court to order the property to be put up for sale to cover the tax debt. Little bit more of an update on that. The Inquirer getting an exclusive interview with the owner, that is Esther Johnson, whom we talked about before, purchased that property back in the 80s to rehab it. Saying that there's a bit of a misunderstanding, in her words, about the tax bill, that the timing on it, apparently it was paid. We're going to have to see how that all shakes out, but that is the latest there. Likely more to come. Esther Johnson saying that it is her goal to maintain the Madison Theater as a venue for concerts, and that she's looking to have some updates on that relatively soon. Now for today's Big Bite, all that talk about the Madison Theater recently and live performances, and the fact that comedian Josh Sneed of Cincy Shirts fame is my guest today. That all got me thinking about the state of live performances in this area and the venues that house them. The Madison Theater was a venue for comedy events along with all those concerts. When it comes to big concert venues, Cincinnati's top grossing spots are operated by MEMI. That is the Cincinnati Symphony. Those big top grossing spots with huge ticket sales include Riverbend, PNC Pavilion, the Andrew J. Brady Music Center, also the Taft Theater, and as you can see there, the Farmer Music Center, which is under construction.
Future of live entertainment, the Farmer Music Center, where music, innovation, and luxury collide. Introducing Cincinnati's brand new state-of-the-art $160 million amphitheater, designed to elevate every concert experience like never before. From the moment you arrive, you'll feel the excitement. A space built for unforgettable nights where world-class entertainment meets cutting-edge
So that's an early look at what the Farmer Music Center is going to look like. A little virtual walkthrough for you there. That is currently under construction on the site of the old Coney Island and Sunlight Pool, a place that I visited once on a day. On a day when it was so hot.
How hot was it?
Thank you. Thank you. It was so hot, and it was so hot, it was so humid, it was so crowded. You couldn't tell the difference between being in the water at the pool or not. There was this actual haze on everything. And I remember they sold me a cup of Yingling on draft, and the cup was one of those tall plastic cylinders like you're getting a large order of soup from a restaurant. Anyway, we don't know exactly how much Riverbend or any of those MEMI venues gross, but the revenue range is a bit over $60 million. The price tag on that new Farmer Music Center is $160 million, and $60 million of that is coming just from the Farmer Family Foundation. That is the largest philanthropic gift to the arts in recent Cincinnati history. MEMI is still working on raising money to finish off the funding for that venue. The city of Cincinnati looking to kick in about $2 million. And just to be clear, a huge reason why the Cincinnati Symphony is considered to be such a world-class organization is because of the uniqueness of MEMI and the financial symbiotic relationship going on there. MEMI and the Symphony do not own Music Hall, ironically enough. That is the city's property. It's operated by the Cincinnati Arts Association. It also handles the Aronoff. ProPublica listing its most recent annual revenue as over $18 million. Because Music Hall is a historic city-owned building, its revenue comes from a combination of ticket sales, venue rentals, and nonprofit operations. Resident companies like the Symphony and the Pops and the Cincinnati Ballet and the Cincinnati Opera all generate their own respective revenues. Obviously, there is a history of big concerts at Heritage Bank Center, previously known as U.S. Bank Arena. And when it was the Riverfront Coliseum, that's the site of The Who's live performance tragedy in 1979, where 11 people lost their lives in a crowd crush. That tragic event led to the end of festival seating here in the city for decades. There has been lots of talk in recent years about the city building a new arena, but no official progress there. What was the biggest performance that happened at that arena? It happened just before the pandemic. Friend of the show, Business Courier reporter Steve Watkins, reporting that Eric Church, a country act, sold out 2 nights in February of 2019, over 14,000 people per show, grossing ticket sales of over $3 million. One other bit of Heritage Bank Center trivia. Which show had the most acts there ever for a single event? That was Dancing with the Stars, 15 acts, all in one performance in 2009. In terms of other big venues in the area, there is Megacorp Pavilion, which I believe every act that performs there has to make a joke about it, and that joke is so cliche at this point that me making a joke about the joke is cliche. Megacorp is privately owned by Promo West, managed by AEG, and because it's private, annual revenue not made public there. Ticket prices vary. We don't know operational expenses, but it does have a nearly 10,000 indoor-outdoor capacity. It hosts over 100 shows and events a year, so if a ticket's running you $50, you can do some of that math. When it comes to smaller, well-known venues in town, you got to start with Bogart's. Bogart's on Short Vine, a historic 1,500 capacity concert hall owned and operated by Live Nation, making money off of ticket sales, private events, and of course concessions, with something like half a dozen bars that are available in that venue. I remember the promotion, in fact, Bogart's had. When they started selling those beers that filled up from the bottom, they had a big promotion on that. Fill it up from the bottom of the cup. That was a big deal. Bogart's has booked legendary artists over the years. James Brown and the Ramones played there. Pearl Jam, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Beastie Boys, The Strokes. I saw The Darkness there in 2016, and I will always remember someone tossing a Bengals cap on stage. And the lead singer, Justin Hawkins, put on the hat and said, "Cincinnati, the darkness supports you in all of your sports endeavors," before he climbed onto an amp and was like drug around in the crowd while they were singing "I Believe in a Thing Called Love." That was an epic performance. Bogart's also known for comedy performances. Billy Crystal has played there, Cheech and Chong. I saw Hannibal Buress there just a few years ago as well. The Cincinnati area also has a handful of comedy venues, arguably the biggest being the Funny Bone in Liberty Center, and Earthquake was just there.
Come see your boy tonight. It's your boy Earthquake. I'm here in Liberty City, Ohio. Beautiful day. Beautiful day. 2 shows tonight, 2 tomorrow. Give me why I'm cheap. All the information at the bottom. Come see your boy. Yeah.
Having an act able to walk around in the little city, like you saw him mention there, as an interesting way to promote the show. Funny Bone's an interesting spot business-wise. Liberty Center, a $350 million mixed-use development that was built in Butler County back in 2015. It's got retail, it's got bars and restaurants, places to live. Yesterday's Big Bite did a whole thing on malls and how the Kenwood Town Center is kind of a unicorn in that industry anymore. Though some more recent studies by Coresight say that mall store occupancy rates actually bounced back in 2022. Liberty Center is the Pokemon evolution of malls. Like Earthquake said, it's a city. The idea that people live there grants a more built-in customer base for those brick-and-mortar shops, trying to create community rather than just be a shopping destination. Liberty Center added to that portfolio last year with Liberty Flats Apartments. Liberty Center also announced a $76 million multifamily apartment project just last year, adding hundreds of units on the way. And you can also see Dave Attell there occasionally. There is no shortage of non-ticketed venues in the area, and everyone has their favorite. This is not going to be an exhaustive list. Ludlow Garage is a big one. It's where the Allman Brothers recorded a live album in 1970, multiple venues in Northside, lot more. Hey, we've got to take a break. When we come back, Josh Sneed of CincyShirts.com is my guest. We'll have more coming up. You're watching The Working Lunch on The Crown.
Simple, really. Authentic Cincinnati entertainment. Not hot takes from a studio 3 states away. Not national noise pretending to know the city. Rather, bringing a voice to those who call the Queen City home. Where can I watch the Crown shows? Join us live from 7 to 11 a.m. for First Word and 12 to 1 for the Working Lunch on RESN. No live TV? No problem. Stream and interact with all of our content on major podcast, broadcast, and streaming platforms. The Crown is Cincinnati. Loud, passionate, competitive, proud. From early morning sports debates to the business leaders shaping the riverfront, to the fans, stories, moments, and culture that make this place move. Live shows, podcasts, documentaries, digital content built from Cincinnati, for Cincinnati. This is The Crown.
Dinner! Dinner! Hey.
All right.
Whoa.
Great job.
Yeah. Yeah, big win! It was great.
How'd that feel?
Intense. It was good. Kind of a fight to the death, you know? That's cool. What?
And you got
Yeah, it's cool.
and you got right back up.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Oh, try to score the punches to get through. I was really like, I did it!
Yes. All right, go ahead and keep going. If you keep going, you can come around and score points.
We do have a game coming up, so they tend to be a little more focused and like strict.
Now this green line is what you're trying to not go out of.
Okay.
Come out, so now you have to go back behind. No, right behind our friend right here.
Okay.
Nice. This one.
There's one! We went butt. Okay. Hey! I got a big old tank, baby. I think I'm better skating backwards than frontwards. Ooh, everything's fine. Oh my God! You literally, I went for boys.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Back, hard. Go.
Wow! Oh my God! Yeah. Really did try to go hard.
Yeah, and you could have kept like, you could have went in hard.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. I am joined now by Josh Sneed, stand-up comedian, co-founder of CincyShirts.com. Do you go? Is it CincyShirts.com or you just say Cincy Shirts?
Either one's fine. You hope people know how to find a website by
At this
by
point,
now. Yeah.
I'm really happy to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm great, man. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
How is the shirt business right now?
It's good. It's always up and down depending on what's happening in our city, what's happening with the local sports teams.
Yeah.
We've kind of positioned ourselves to be, talk about whatever everyone else is talking about. We take pride that if something happens in a game or online, that we could have a shirt about it, sometimes that day or the next day. So we just kind of keep our ear to the ground, and then in the meantime, we've developed really good relationships with all the iconic local brands, Skyline and Graders and places like that. So
you guys literally have a shirt for everything, for any topic, any team, any well-known organization, any catchphrase, any retro, anything that has to do with this town. And you said you can turn stuff around even same day?
Yeah, the technology of creating t-shirts has come so far since we started, 20 years ago, because back then we had to screen print everything, which meant you had to have inventory, and the setup to do one shirt was, it was a lot. And now we can print on demand, which is great for being able to throw out as many ideas as we can come up with and all the different organizations that we work with, and for those kind of hot market designs that have a short shelf life, because we only print them as they get ordered. So we can really put up as many ideas as we can think of, and the only investment we have into it is the time it took to make the design.
Yeah, I know. I was going through your website and just grabbing some different designs to have there. You guys have a whole Oakley promotion going on now.
Yeah.
What was the motivation on that?
So I grew up in St. Bernard. I'm a Cincinnati guy, and St. Bernard has a lot of local landmarks and businesses that people have an affinity for. And so I released a St. Bernard collection that kind of highlighted a lot of the places that meant a lot to me growing up. Mm-hmm. And it was very well received, especially by people who also grew up in St. Bernard. And it kind of inspired us to start to find other parts of the city where we could sort of devote a new collection to that part of the city. And so Oakley is our latest latest one.
Right on. Yeah, did the Dairy Queen from St. Bernard make it into the shirt list?
It only didn't because it's a national brand that we can't. But I would love to have a coming March 1st or opening March 1st, because that was the big thing about our Dairy Queen was that it was closed in the winter, and it would always have that sign up. But that kind of stuff is when you find that stuff that really resonates with people. It's like a trigger, it takes people back to when they were a kid and what they felt, like when we first opened our store, I loved being in there when someone would come in and see a Swollen shirt, or, some store that isn't around anymore, Johnny's Toys or the Uncle Al show, because they would just instantly start telling a story about what seeing that meant to them. And like, that's kind of what we've always tried to do with the company, is tap into that history here in town that really resonates with people.
Yeah, there's a baked-in emotional connection to this thing that you're selling, and that's having your sort of finger on the pulse for that has got to be a lot of fun. Do you run into copyright issues very often?
Well, we've always tried to be smart about it, and do our homework when it comes to that sort of thing. So that's why when we started, it was all defunct businesses. But Dean Gregory over at the Montgomery Inn was actually the first one who kind of saw what we were trying to do and gave us the opportunity to print old Montgomery Inn logos. And that ushered us into relationships that we have now with brands that are still around, but just as iconic.
How did things actually start? How did Cincy Shirts? You guys have been going for what, like 20 years now, right?
Yeah.
How did things actually get started at first?
We started out as a funny T-shirt brand, if you can imagine that. My business partner Darren Overholzer, very talented artist, and then I have the comedy background and whatever I could pick up from the marketing side, working at P&G before I did stand up.
Yeah, you had a really interesting pivot. Well, I want to get into that, but I want to know about the Cincy Shirt.
So we started doing funny T-shirts, back in 2005. That was kind of the thing, was, funny T-shirt, pop culture references. So he would do the design work, and then I would be out on the road at different comedy clubs, and I'd wear them to radio stations and on local TV, get people to ask about them. I'd tell audiences about them after the show, and that's kind of how we got started. But I always wanted to do like local stuff, and the first shirt that we ever got pressed for was a shirt that said, "Even God hates the Steelers," and there was no Bengals logo, there was no Steelers logo, but people just loved the shirt, as you can imagine. And so I also had a love for all those brands that I was talking about, the Johnny's Toys, the Mama's Cookies, the Uncle Al show. And it wasn't until we got into that ability to print on demand and do these full color designs one at a time that we could start offering shirts like that. And as soon as we did, Cincy Shirts kind of became its own thing. And then we had our funny T-shirt website was a separate thing. And then we developed Old School Shirts, which is kind of like what we did for the vintage aspect of Cincinnati, but other cities across the country. We have In the Clutch, which is our sports brand that has licensed sports apparel. And it's just been fun to grow these brands. Obviously, locally, Cincy Shirts is the one everybody knows about, but behind the scenes, we're working on brands that are hopefully appeal to the rest of the country.
Yeah, that's such a wild evolution. Over the 20 years that you've been doing this, you started comedy, in 2001?
Yeah.
And then the T-shirt thing came in about 20 years ago. Did you even have an idea that this would evolve into the thing that it has now?
Well, that was the goal, and that was actually the genesis of doing the A shirt company, period, was when I started doing stand-up. I was very young. It was a month before my 21st birthday. I was at Go Bananas up in Montgomery, and I would meet these headliners who had been doing comedy for 30 years, and they almost hated it because it was the only thing that they knew. And I just never wanted to get to a point where I didn't enjoy comedy, that I was only doing it because I had to. And so I wanted to have some sort of side hustle that could hopefully just generate enough money to let me do comedy on my own terms. And luckily that's what's happened, because I knew at some point, hopefully, I would have a family, and I didn't want to miss those early years of the big moments. So, I wanted something that didn't have to be my sole source of income, but just would be an alternative source of income. And it's kept comedy fun, which is great, because I still love to do it because I don't have to do it. I do it because I want to. And so between that and the t-shirt company and all the other little side hustles that I have going on, they kind of amount to a life that I enjoy by being able to, stay at home and do stuff as a family and also still go out on the road and do comedy.
Yeah, Cincy Shirts starting out as a side hustle. And, I think you guys have done such a really admirable job of partnering with all sorts of organizations, all sorts of nonprofits. I mean, is there anybody that hasn't at some point, rang you guys up and said, hey, what can we talk about with doing a T-shirt?
I'm sure there are. And if they're watching cincyshirts.com, we'd love to work with you. We love to work with all the local organizations because I feel like, not to be too cheesy, but I feel like that's what Cincinnati is. That's what I love about this town is whether it's your high school that you are in love with forever or the local business that you support as a restaurant or a store. If it's something that happened that, like the shooting on Fountain Square or Fiona being born or whatever it is, our city comes together for the things that they're passionate about. So whether it's a small 501c3 that, has a very niche audience, we can provide a solution for them to offer apparel to their, fan base or the people who want to support them, all the way up to stuff that hopefully the whole city can get behind.
Is it weird sometimes when you come up with, at this point now there's so many people coming to you with ideas, but you guys are still coming up with different ideas. Like you said, you got this neighborhood thing going on right now. Is it weird sometimes what hits and what doesn't? Were there times when you thought this is going to be a huge hit and then it just doesn't take off the way you thought it would?
All the time. And then there's other times where it's throw it up, see if anybody likes it, and it becomes one of our best sellers. That's the beauty of the team that we have. It's a very creative, talented team that we come up with ideas that range from funny to serious to heartfelt to just a cool look graphic tee, and we just put it out there and we let the audience decide what they want and what it's trying to determine what's going to be the best seller is impossible.
Do you have any memories of recent surprises where something that blew up that you were like, really that? Or something you thought this is going to kill and then it sort of sat there?
Yeah, we've had 2 separate bridge shirts that have gone off, We have the Brent Spence shirt that says, never quit working on yourself.
That's good.
And then when the Big Mac Bridge reopened, we had a shirt celebrating it reopened after it got damaged in that fire. And sold a ton of them.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's such a moment in time kind of thing that people wanted to get a permanent T-shirt of.
I know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and now we're working on Get a Fest, so we'll be supplying all the apparel at Get a Fest, and now it's another year of needing a completely new set of designs, for Get a Fest.
Yeah, there's such an art to it. You got to obviously come up with a color scheme and a layout that's visually appealing to people. Does that get exhausting? Does AI play any role in the creative process for you guys?
No. Once in a while, if there's an ad we need to hurry up and get out or something, and we can, find some way to, highlight our design with, a background image or something like that. But our designs themselves and pretty much all the video content and everything that we put out, it's all done by our in-house staff. So it doesn't stress me out because I'm just on the idea side once in a while to chime in. But my business partner Darren, our designers, our salespeople, Mark Shalfu, local comedian, one of my best friends, he helps us out. The group as a whole, the way that we come together when something happens at all times a day, any day of the week. It's the process of narrowing down to what ultimately the public sees is kind of the most fun, because we'll have ideas that are all over the board, and then we'll see where we end up landing. But it is a total team effort, and I probably have the least amount of input in some of the genius that comes out of it.
Well, yeah, but you're the idea guy.
I'm one of the idea guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't take all the credit.
Sure.
I'm one of the faces, but I will give all the credit to our design team, because the way they can execute a vision, whether it's something we come up with or a foundation or a business that we work with, to listen to what they want and then actually get it down to a design that looks good on a shirt, that's where the art is, and that's all them.
Do you, because of the evolution of being in business for 20 years and the number of shirts that have been hits, is there an issue sometimes with people taking you guys for granted?
I don't know about for granted. I think it's easy for anyone to forget small businesses, you know, because we're not always right in your face reminding you that we're there. You know, Amazon and DoorDash have made it hard on retail and food and beverage because it's just easier. It's easier to place an order and it'll be on your doorstep in the morning, or to not leave your house and have someone drop off a bag of food on your porch. But once in a while, when we put it out there that we're still here, and if you like what we do, then we could use your support, people show up.
Yeah, you've been really public
awesome.
about that stuff. I remember 6 months to a year ago, there was a Facebook post that I think you made that was like, hey, look, this is where we're at. Could really use you guys' support. And there was a good response to that?
It was an amazing response, you know. And it came from a place where I've seen too many other businesses wait until it's too late.
Yeah.
That when they talk to people with that kind of honesty, it's because they're closing their doors, and they stuck it out for as long as they can. And I didn't want to let that happen, you know. So I was hesitant about doing it. That's why I did it from my personal account versus the Cincy Shirts account. But I was just trying to be honest with people because it was January, it was snowing, our store was closed. You know, the Bengals are out of the playoffs. We're not even really talking about baseball yet, and we could use a little boost, and people showed up.
God, does that drive you nuts when something that is so far out of your control, like the Bengals not being in the playoffs, then has an effect on your bottom line?
It sure does, you know, and you don't, you know, you still want to support them and be a good fan, but it's just the reality, you know, if people aren't going to games and need a new shirt or something that's excited about. But I also remember to the early days when our shirts were all based in negativity because we led the league in arrests or something. You know what I mean? So I'm appreciative of the optimism that we can have. Now I just need the teams to go out and produce and get the rest of the city excited about it throughout the season.
Yeah, you and everybody else, right? Hey, before we go to break, I do want to also ask you about the Field House, which is a little bit of a newer venture for you. You're listed, I believe, on LinkedIn as partner. This is in Northern Kentucky. This is a, batting cages, and it's a youth sports training camp, but it's not like mini golf and like arcade games. This is an actual training thing.
That's right. I'm a glutton for punishment. There's a building that used to be a batting cage type place, 20,000 square feet, that had kind of fallen by the wayside a bit, and the owner was looking to get out once his lease was up. But I just loved the location. I got a group of friends and some local business owners together to go in on it with me, and we dumped $500,000 into this place, redid the whole thing, new turf, new netting, put in state-of-the-art pitching machines and hit tracks, have a full concession stand with kid and adult beverages and food options, you know, TVs, something for the parents to do while the kids are taking a lesson or their team's practicing. And then, you know, we try to supplement our baseball activity with special events. So we've had everything from micro wrestling to sports card shows.
Yeah, I saw that on your website. What's micro wrestling?
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's little people wrestling. It's a Discovery Channel show based out of Tennessee that tours around. And we sold over 500 tickets in January for people coming out. They put on an awesome show, and they use our venue to be one of the places where they stop locally. And so we're just trying to come up with cool ways to serve the community and put other events in there outside of the, you know, busy baseball season. And it's turned into a really cool spot, and I'd love for people to come check it out.
Yeah, the response has been good so far. I mean, because it's only been going just a couple of years, right?
Yeah, we're coming up on 2 years since we took it over. So
that's in Fort Mitchell.
In Covington, Independence. If you know where Pioneer Park is, right off of 275, we're kind of across the street. But it's thekyfieldhouse.com, and we post all the stuff that's going on. There's kind of something for everybody, and people that come in are really impressed by it, so we just need more people to come in.
Well, you're a regular Renaissance man between the T-shirt business and the Field House, and then, of course, the stand-up comedy, which we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a lot more about that. I got a lot of questions. It's something I'm very interested in. We're talking to Josh Sneed of Cincy Shirts, of the KY Field House, and of stand-up comedy fame. More on that coming up when we come back. You're watching The Working Lunch on The Crown. Stick around.
what part of it do you think you struggled with the most? And I don't want to know about, the intricacies of relationships or whatnot, but what about the structure of your life at the time did you really have a hard time with?
Well, I guess it would be sharing so much information about my personal life. And just in the back end of things, I just never felt like they always just wanted more. And I'm like, well, I can't be more funny. Like, this is it. And I can't be, yeah, and like I've shared like very vulnerable moments. Like, I don't know what else you want me to do. And then at a point where I'm just like, I don't know if they value me.
I was just gonna ask, did you ever feel valued or appreciated?
At some points, and by most of my coworkers, yes. By some people in the building, like we just wouldn't see eye to eye. And I think that's gonna happen anywhere. It happens.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was mad, and I'm like, I can't give you any more than what I'm giving. Okay? And for a long time, I was just like, wow, I worked at this radio station, I gave them my life, and I wasn't good enough, and then I get let go. What do I do now? And for a moment, I was frustrated and upset, and like rejection sucks. But now I'm just like, they did me a favor. And honestly, like I grew so much in that time, I wouldn't have had social media. And now I'm like making a small business out of
You're
that.
a social media queen.
Thank
As
you.
somebody who went from 0 to 100, and you like really lean into it. I'm a social, like I look at people like you, and I'm like, you like really lean into it and love it and do it well. And it's so great.
You're really sweet to say that, because then, just like the voice in your head, it's like, I'm not doing enough, I'm not creating enough, I need to post a picture today. I'm not gonna post a picture because it doesn't feel authentic. And then I overthink for 45 minutes. And so then it's like,
dude, the pressure to post every day. I haven't thought about that.
I think I should get bangs. What do you guys think? And I'm like, that's the post?
It's a great post.
Yeah, I'm not getting bangs.
But thank God. Okay. Can you?
Every morning, Cincinnati wakes up and gets to work. Companies are built, deals are made, restaurants open, ideas become careers, and every day the people behind it all sit down at the working lunch. Founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, community leaders, the people building Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays, noon to 1, only on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
To work on not being so cynical and assuming people mean something negative every time I read it. Like if you go to YouTube videos of me for as long as I've been doing stand-up and go through the comments section, you will see a comment repeated for my entire career. And this is what it says. This guy looks like a fat Ryan Gosling. Don't clap or do. I don't know how I feel about it, okay? There are two ways to take that if you're me, okay? The positive way would be, oh, that's kind of nice. Maybe if I ate a little healthier and got some exercise, I could get mistaken for an A-list celebrity. I don't ever read it like that. I never once read it like that. The way I read it is like, guys, you know Ryan Gosling? Picture he just gave up. I'm talking 20-year cheat day. Then he got stung by a bee and had an allergic reaction to peanuts. That's the kind.
So that's Josh Sneed. How long did it take you to come up with the fat Ryan Gosling joke? You've been hearing it for years, you said.
Yeah, yeah. The YouTube comment section came up with it. It was something that just, and I don't recommend anyone going into YouTube comments of videos of themselves.
I'm staying out of it myself.
I don't know what I was thinking, but I did notice it was something that came up a lot.
That's funny.
And so I finally ended up writing a joke about it, and then I wrote a joke about wanting to call my special Fat Ryan Gosling separated at girth, and then we were told that obviously legal ramifications to doing something like that. So we settled on Fat Ryan. So I just wanted to give context of why it's named that. But yeah, it's fun to see just like a clip of it because it was shot here.
Yeah, that for those of you, if that looked familiar, that was shot at beautiful Memorial Hall, which is very close to where we're sitting right now. It's one of my favorite spots in the city.
Yeah.
Was there a temptation after Project Hail Mary came out to start doing that glasses thing that he does where they're dangling off on the side? Did you think about getting glasses?
I thought, well, somebody said you should do, the cover should be you dressed like Ken from the Barbie movie, which was funny. Not going to happen.
Oh, come on, man. Pink suit?
I wanted to do a scene from The Notebook where he's holding her up in the rain, and it's me holding like a giant sandwich or something, like up in the rain.
Or something.
Yeah. We covered enough of it, right? Fat Ryan, like I don't want to lean too far into it, but the comments now on that video is I see it or I can't unsee it, or no, he looks more like a fat different celebrity, which
neat. Well, that's fodder for the next special.
I guess so, yeah.
So you were a systems analyst at P&G, and in the summer of 2001, according to your LinkedIn, is when you opted to get into comedy. So you jumped into comedy just before 9/11 happened. Did that have what was that? I mean, did that make a blip on your early comedy radar? How did that all work?
Well, that was the July of 2001 was when I actually quit P&G to do it full time.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on 25 years of leaving that job. But I had been doing it for about 3.5 years as like an open micer, like learning the ropes. And I just kind of fell in love with it. So that's kind of was my lifestyle, was to work all day, and then I'd go to the comedy club at night and get on stage as much as I could. And then P&G announced cutbacks. Massive cutbacks, and my job was safe, but before they told anybody they had to go, they said, who wants to go? And I felt like I was young enough to bounce back if it ended up not being the right decision. And so I took my severance package, and then Friday the 13th of July was my last day, and I walked out, and that was 25 years ago, which is wild.
You've got a story in one of your previous specials about one of those early on gigs that you did where you were doing this bit at a Dayton Dragons game. Now, just in summary, you're supposed to be dressed up as the umpire and like do like a tight five and have the audience think that you are the umpire, but everything went horribly wrong just before your bit was supposed to happen.
That's right. It's Willie Mo Pena, if you remember that name. He was the star player for the Dragons at the time. And right before I'm about to go out to pretend to be the umpire and do stand-up.
Which is a wild premise,
It's a wild premise, but that's what minor league baseball, especially then, was the in-between innings stuff.
That's so crazy.
And so the premise was that they would tell people the umpire was a comedian, and I would put the mask on. And then right before that, there's this play at home plate, and the ump makes a horrible call, and he argues with Willie Mo and throws Willie Mo out of the game. The guy that everybody was there to see is now not going to be in the game anymore. And then the manager goes out and argues, and he gets tossed. And now people hate this guy, and I'm supposed to pretend to be him and make them laugh.
Yeah, and you got to be funny on top of all that.
And it was... and I really leaned into kind of being the villain that night, and I talk about it in the special. And it was memorably one of the craziest moments of doing stand-up, but I didn't have the knowledge of years like I do now of saying no to certain gigs that I probably would.
Does a moment like that really make you sort of stop and think, all right, well, either I don't want to do this, I don't want to deal with that hostile of a crowd anymore, or do you think, all right, well, if I can just get through this is maybe as hard as it's ever going to get?
I think it's the latter, and I tell comics today that are just starting out, if they ask, how do I know if this is something that I just want to try or maybe take serious? And I tell them, I say, no matter how it goes, if you can't wait to do it again, that's how you know. So if it goes terrible and you can't wait to get up there and try it again, or it goes great and you can't wait to try to replicate it or do even better, that's when you know that you're serious about it. Yeah. But if you're constantly afraid of failure, and that's when you should really figure out if it might just be a hobby or something that's not for you.
You made the official pivot into doing it in 01, but you had about a couple of years of really sort of getting used to the waters and cutting your teeth. In terms of the idea of making that big decision to make it a thing, was it based on the idea that, well, I'm funny in my friend group, or is your brain sort of always thinking about bits and, the idea of telling a story versus telling a joke with a punchline? Like, is that something that you're sort of always storing up?
I mean, I think for me it was, the things that influenced my sense of humor, which a big part of it was my dad. He was very funny. He was always funny in his group of friends. He was silly. Mm-hmm. He was a model maker at Kenner Toys. Oh, cool. So he worked with a lot of guys that were also big kids like he was. And I feel like that whether it was subconsciously or whatever it was organic, that I kind of just saw this, like, if you don't take life too serious, like, you can still enjoy your job. Mm-hmm. Or, it doesn't have to be a grind all the time. And I tried to implement that when I was at P&G. I tried to do things as a new hire that I thought made my coworkers laugh, or other new hires, not loathe going to work every day because they could interject some humor during the day. And so for me, like, I wanted to be on SNL. That was what I wanted. And I wasn't sure how to do that while living here. And I thought maybe if I tried stand-up, just learn how to be funny on stage in front of people the way that I felt like I was around my coworkers and friends. And so that's what was kind of like my entry point into just trying stand-up. And then I immediately fell in love with stand-up itself.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, anybody can sort of be the funny one in the friend group, but taking that and turning it and making it into a career, leaving a job at a big company. Right. I mean, you said that you were young enough and you were able to sort of pounce on a severance package, but that's a huge decision in a person's life.
Yeah. I liked the thought of, like some of my biggest influences, it's weird to say now, but like Bill Cosby, like he was the first stand-up I ever saw. Sure. And I just thought he had this ability to retell a story and at the end not say, I guess you had to be there, right? Like, he was able to make it as funny retelling it as it was when it happened. And I've always been drawn to comics like that. That's why I like to do big stories as much as I like to do wordplay and silly little quick one-liners. I like that chance to do kind of long form and really draw an audience into like whatever I'm talking about that might take 5 or 10 minutes. And so for me, that's what I love the most about stand-up, is like taking these life stories that would be impossible for someone else to steal or replicate because I actually lived them, and then how do I make it funny to retell for an audience? And to me, that's like the fun part of figuring that out.
Do you see everybody doing all the crowd work stuff and putting all that up on socials now? Does that drive you crazy, or is that something that that's just what the scene is now?
I think that social media, like, this is just my opinion because people obviously love it and they'll go to the club to see it, but for someone like me, for what we just talked about, where like I'm all about like timing and and calling back to things that I said before.
Prepared work.
Yeah, so I want people to be paying attention the whole time, and I feel like these videos they can breed an audience member that isn't going to enjoy my show, and I'm not going to enjoy having them in the audience because they think they're now supposed to participate.
Yeah, it's teaching people the wrong lesson.
Yeah, I like people who show up and want to listen to what I've prepared, but the people who can do it well, like, hats off to them. Sure. I try to get it out for my audience. Like, I want you to come and listen versus like interject.
Speaking of interjecting, I'm so sorry. We got to go to break.
All right.
Josh Sneed, CincyShirts.com, stand-up comedy. Your latest special, Fat Ryan, is on Angel. You can join Angel Guild, and you can stream it. I think it's also on Amazon.
It is. It's still out on Amazon, and it'll be bouncing around. If you just go to fatryan.com, whatever day you go there, it'll take you to where you can watch it.
He's one of the best in town. Josh Sneed, we got to take a break. This is The Working Lunch. Stick around.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
The Crown has you covered. Start your day with First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the Working Lunch, Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. First Word for your morning sports, Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, the Working Lunch for business that hits home, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Cincinnati sports fans are the best. Loyal, passionate, second to none. This city lives and breathes sports, and now it finally has a morning show to match. I'm James Rapine, and this is First Word, the only morning sports show in Cincinnati and the place where every day starts. We break down the biggest moments and set the agenda for the city. Marissa Contepelli and Jacob Tissett join me to bring the insight and energy you need to start your day. The conversation starts with First Word. First Word, weekdays 7 to 11, part of the Crown Network.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. I'm doing it. How do you think I'm doing so far?
You're doing really good. Really good. You already got your shifting points down and stuff. You're able to shift, start it, brakes, all that. You're standing up over the bumps, which is what we want to do, and you've already got your crashes out of the way, and you're tough, so you're going great.
I must say, I'm like on a 110, which is like what little kids ride, and I'm like in gear 1, okay? And even in gear 1, I'm like, okay, you can do this. And now I'm on gear 2, so excited. One day I'll get to gear 3. But the main goal, I don't know, I really want to do a jump and like get some air and land it. So that's what we're going to do now on this one.
Yeah.
I think I can do it. If anything, I think I'm going to send it regardless.
You're going to send it regardless?
I'm feeling confident right now.
Alrighty. You want to be prepared for the landing is the biggest thing. Like, you don't want to hit and like lose your arms off the bars and just like crash. So
I'm just going to cruise. Cruising! Woo!
I think with just a little bit more speed, you can maybe get some air.
You got to get bad, bitch. Okay. Hey! Woo!
That was sick.
That was cool.
What do you think?
That was so much fun.
So much fun?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Thank you so much, Scott, and everyone at East Fork MX. East Fork MX, I've had a blast. My adrenaline is high. I understand why everybody does it, no matter what age. I mean, just start it. Brett, thank you so much. From our very own pro. Actually, how many pro bikers, pro motocross racers are there in the Cincinnati area?
Not so many. I think we have a couple, in Ohio. I think there's, maybe 4 or 5 total in Ohio.
Wow, and you're one of them.
Yeah.
Good royalty today. Thank you so much, dude.
Of course, it was fun, and thank you for having me. I had a blast, and I always love, sharing my passion with other people. So
yeah, man, it's pretty rad.
Welcome back to The Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. Want to thank Josh Sneed for coming on the show. CincyShirts.com has a t-shirt for everything. If there's some sort of present that you want to get locally, and I'm not getting it like a paid endorsement here, this is just something that I want people to know about. If you're struggling to find a gift for somebody, probably something on Cincy shirts. Hey, that's our show. That's a Thursday. We got a big Friday show tomorrow. Of course, we'll be previewing movies that are coming out for the weekend. We're also deep into festival season in Cincinnati, and there's a new one that's coming to town. We'll mention that to you. Amy Wagner, which is a name that you've probably heard in your earballs or seen with your eyeballs over the years. She is my guest tomorrow to talk about personal wealth and finance, building a nest egg for yourself. She works for Fifth Third now. We'll be talking to Amy Wagner tomorrow. Here's all the different ways you can watch us here on the Crown Network. We're very happy to be here. Stream live on demand as well. CincyCrown.com. We're on YouTube. We're on Mixlr. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on iHeart Podcasts. And we will be back tomorrow morning. First Word with James Rapine at 7 a.m. Cincinnati's only morning sports talk show. That's our show. This is The Crown. I'm Jack Crumley. You're watching The Working Lunch. Boy, it's been a long week. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for watching.